The sun is rising over the San Francisco Bay, casting a golden light on the water. It is a painfully beautiful morning. Inside, a quiet, luxurious home. The world is still asleep, but in one room, there is a silence so heavy it could crush a planet. Lying there is a man who spent 63 years making enough noise for the entire universe. A man whose mind moved faster than light. A man who could become a genie, a nanny, a president, or a Peter Pan in the blink of an eye. But on this morning, the genie is gone. The lamp is broken. When the news broke, it didn't feel like a celebrity death. It felt like a family tragedy. It felt like a glitch in the Matrix. How could the man who possessed the most life take his own? The police report spoke of asphyxia. The tabloids spoke of depression. But the truth was far more terrifying and heartbreaking. Inside that brilliant brain, a brain that was a national treasure, a microscopic war was raging. A thief called Lewy Body Dementia had been stealing his mind, cell by cell, memory by memory. In his final days, the man who could memorize Hamlet in an hour couldn't remember how to say goodnight. The man who was everyone's friend felt completely, utterly alone. He died in a room full of silence, desperate to escape a noise inside his head that no one else could hear. We thought we knew him. To the public, he was a live wire, a human cartoon, an improv god who operated on a frequency that normal humans couldn't touch. He was the alien from Mork and Mindy, buzzing with manic electricity. When he walked into a room, the air pressure changed. He gave 1,000% of himself to make you smile. But strip away the jokes. Turn off the microphone. Wipe off the misses. Doubtfire makeup. Who was standing there? A quiet, shy, painfully sensitive man who collected toy soldiers because they didn't judge him. A man who would cycle for hours alone just to outrun his anxiety. He was a sad clown in the truest sense. He didn't just want to make you laugh. He needed to make you laugh. It was a transaction. He gave you comedy. You gave him love. And for Robin, that love was the only oxygen he knew. He once said, "I think the saddest people always try their hardest to make people happy because they know what it's like to feel absolutely worthless, and they don't want anyone else to feel that." He was the doctor who healed everyone, but forgot to save himself. We often call him a genius, but genius is a dangerous gift. In the next hour, we are not just telling the biography of a movie star. We are exploring the high cost of a hyper-connected soul. We will argue that Robin Williams didn't just suffer from depression. He suffered from empathy. He felt the world too deeply. He lacked the protective skin that the rest of us wear. We will trace the roots of his manic energy. Was it talent? Or was it a defense mechanism? A desperate attempt to keep the silence at bay. And we will answer the haunting question, did the comedy kill him? Or did the comedy keep him alive for 63 years? This is not a story about death. It is a story about a man who burned so brightly that he used up all his fuel, keeping the rest of us warm. Hello, storytellers. Welcome back. Imagine Hollywood in the late 1970 seconds. It was a time of cool, detached heroes. And then, suddenly, a hairy, sweaty, the frantic man in rainbow suspenders burst onto the screen. He broke every rule. He didn't read the script. He reinvented it. He didn't just act. He exploded. For 4 decades, Robin Williams walked the tightrope between insanity and brilliance. He was the voice of our childhood in Aladdin. He was the teacher we wished we had in Dead Poets Society. He was the therapist who hugged us in Good Will Hunting. He taught us to seize the day, to carpe diem. But behind the curtain, he was fighting a dragon that grew larger every year. Today, we are looking past the punchlines. We are going to hold the heart of this gentle man in our hands. Grab your tissues. Open your minds. This is the story of the funniest man versus the saddest soul. Let's begin. To find the source of the noise, we must first visit the silence. Chicago, 1951. Robin McLaurin Williams was born into a world of privilege. His father, Robert, was a stern, high-ranking executive at Ford Motor Company. His mother, Laurie, was a former model, glamorous, witty, but often absent in the whirlwind of high society. They lived in a mansion with 40 rooms. Imagine that. A little boy with 40 rooms to explore. And yet, he felt like he was living on a deserted island. Robin was a chubby, shy kid. He spent most of his time in the attic of that giant house. He didn't have many friends. He didn't have siblings to play with. His half-brothers were much older and living elsewhere. So, he created his own friends. He would arrange thousands of toy soldiers on the floor. And then, the magic happened. He gave them voices. Not just one voice. 100 voices. The general was gruff. The private was scared. The enemy was sinister. In that lonely attic, the manic energy was born. It wasn't a performance yet. It was a survival mechanism. He learned that if he filled the air with voices, he wouldn't have to hear the silence of the house. He wouldn't have to feel the crushing weight of being alone. The attic was his laboratory. The loneliness was his fuel. But every performer needs an audience. And Robin found his first audience in the most important woman in his life, his mother, Laurie. Laurie was the funny one in the family. She was quick-witted, sarcastic, a true Southern belle with a sharp tongue. Robin adored her. He worshipped her, but she was hard to reach. He realized quickly, if I am quiet, I am invisible. But if I am funny, she looks at me. He became a comedian to win his mother's love. It was a transaction that would define his entire life. I perform, you love me. One day, He saw his mother sad. To cheer her up, he imitated his grandmother, a dignified old lady waddling around with a makeshift dress. Laurie burst out laughing. That sound, his mother's laughter, was like a drug. It was validation. It was warmth. It was safety. From that moment on, Robin Williams wasn't just a boy. He was a machine designed to generate laughter, because silence meant abandonment. Fast forward to 1973. Robin is now a young man. He has followed his passion to the most prestigious acting school in America, Juilliard in New York City. This is the temple of serious acting. The place where you learn to be Shakespeare, not a clown. The legendary John Houseman, the man who terrified students with a single glance, is the head of the program. Imagine the clash. On one side, the rigid, disciplined world of classical theater. On the other side, a hairy, sweating tornado named Robin Williams. The teacher asks for an improvisation of a tree. Most students stand still, extending their arms like branches, looking profound. Robin doesn't just become a tree. He becomes a tree being chopped down by a lumberjack, while simultaneously being peed on by a dog, while narrating the inner monologue of a squirrel living in his branches. He explodes into 5 different characters in 10 seconds. He is loud. He is chaotic. He is brilliant. Houseman pulled Robin aside. "Mr. Williams," he said, in that voice that sounded like God judging a sinner. "You are a talented mimic, but you are not an actor. You are hiding. You are using comedy to avoid the truth." Houseman was right, and Houseman was wrong. He was right that Robin was hiding, but he was wrong about the talent. Robin wasn't just mimicking. He was channeling. His brain was firing at a speed that the classical curriculum couldn't process. He felt like a freak, an outcast in the temple of art. He was too much. That was the label. You are too much. Robin, dial it down. But how do you dial down a nuclear reactor? Let's pause here, because this moment at Juilliard unlocks the first crucial lesson of Robin Williams' life. We often think of his comedy as a gift, and it was, but it was also a shield. The lesson here is about the mask of vulnerability. Why did Robin explode into a dozen characters when he felt uncomfortable? Because as long as he was the alien, or the squirrel, or the Russian soldier, he didn't have to be Robin. Being Robin was painful. Being Robin meant facing that lonely boy in the attic. Being Robin meant feeling the crushing insecurity of not being good enough. So he built a fortress of jokes. He fired punchlines like tracer bullets to keep people at a distance. If you are laughing at him, you can't hurt him. It is the paradox of the class clown. They are the loudest people in the room, but they are often the most guarded. John Houseman told him he was hiding. Robin didn't deny it. Instead, he decided to make the hiding spot so entertaining, so dazzling, that no one would ever think to look for the sadness underneath. He left Juilliard. He went to the comedy clubs of San Francisco. And there, he didn't have to dial it down. He could let the reactor melt down every single night. And the world fell in love with the explosion. (1978). The explosion happened. An alien named Mork from the planet Ork landed on primetime television. And overnight, literally overnight, Robin Williams became the most famous man in America. He wasn't just a star. He was a supernova. He was making $15,000 a week, when the average American made that in a year. He was on the cover of Time, Newsweek, Rolling Stone. But fame is a beast that demands to be fed. Imagine being Robin. Your brain is already running at 100 miles per hour. Now, add the adrenaline of live audiences, the pressure of studios, and the endless parties of Hollywood. The engine was overheating. He needed a way to cool down. Or rather, he needed a way to keep up. Enter the White Lady. Cocaine. In the late 70 seconds and early 80 seconds, cocaine wasn't just a drug in Hollywood. It was a food group. For Robin, it served a very specific purpose. It didn't make him hyper. He was already hyper. It made him focused. It allowed him to maintain the alien persona 24 hours a day. He famously said, "Cocaine is God's way of telling you you're making too much money." He laughed about it on stage. We laughed with him. But behind the laughter, the silent boy from the attic was drowning. He was using the noise of the drugs to drown out the silence of his soul. He was partying with the biggest names, Robert De Niro, Christopher Reeve, and his idol, the wild man of comedy, John Belushi. They were the kings of the world, invincible, untouchable, until the night the music stopped. Let's go to the Sunset Strip, the Chateau Marmont Hotel, Bungalow number 3. It is the night of March 4th, 1982. The air inside the bungalow is stale, smelling of cigarettes, old food, and doom. John Belushi, the star of the Blues Brothers, the wildest man in America, is there. He has been on a drug binge for days. Robin Williams stops by to visit his friend. He walks into the room. The vibe is wrong. Dark. Heavy. Belushi is sitting there, barely conscious, surrounded by debris. There is a woman there, Kathy Smith, who is injecting him with speedballs, a lethal mixture of cocaine and heroin. Robin stays for a short while. He does a little bit of blow, tries to crack a few jokes, but they fall flat. The darkness in the room is too thick. He feels an instinct, a primal urge to run. He leaves. He walks out into the cool Los Angeles night. He doesn't know it yet, but he is one of the last people to see John Belushi alive. The next morning, March 5th, Robin is on a sound stage, dressed in his shiny red spacesuit for Mork and Mindy. He is ready to be funny. He is ready to scream, "Nano, Nano." Then, a producer walks up to him. The look on his face says everything. John is dead. Robin freezes. Dead. John, the indestructible Belushi. The cause of death: overdose. The same drugs Robin had been doing. The same lifestyle Robin was living. At that moment, the alien suit felt like a coffin. Robin stood there, paralyzed. He realized, with terrifying clarity, that could have been me. If I had stayed an hour longer, if I had done one more line, that would be my body bag. It wasn't just grief. It was terror. The party was over. The lights came on, and the room was full of monsters. Robin went home to his pregnant wife. He looked in the mirror and didn't see a star. He saw a ghost. Belushi's death was the cold water shock Robin needed. He quit cocaine. Cold turkey. He quit alcohol. He bought a bicycle and started cycling furiously, replacing one addiction with another, but this one was life-affirming. But something else changed. The manic clown began to fade, and a wise teacher began to emerge. He realized that just making people laugh wasn't enough anymore. He wanted to make them feel. He wanted to explore the pain he had seen in Bungalow 3. This is when we see the birth of the Robin Williams that won the Oscar. Good Morning, Vietnam, Dead Poets Society, The Fisher King. Look at his eyes in these movies. They aren't the crazy, wide eyes of Mork anymore. They are deep. They are sad. They are oceans of empathy. He channeled his inner darkness into his art. He took the silent boy from the attic and let him speak on screen. When he played the therapist in Good Will Hunting, telling Matt Damon, "It's not your fault," he wasn't just talking to the character. He was talking to himself. He was talking to John Belushi. He was talking to every broken soul in the audience. He had conquered Hollywood. He had conquered addiction. For now, he was the most beloved man on the planet. But deep down, the chemistry in his brain was waiting. The demons weren't dead. They were just sleeping. Let's stop the film. We need to dissect the psychology of this phase. Why did Robin Williams work so hard? Why did he make 4 movies a year? Why did he never say no to an autograph, a handshake, a charity event? The lesson here is about the imposter syndrome and the fear of silence. Robin believed in a cruel lie. If I stopped performing, I'd disappear. He thought his value as a human being was tied solely to his output. If he wasn't being funny, if he wasn't being brilliant, then he was just boring. He was just the lonely boy in the mansion. He called it the wolf at the door. He once said, "You have this idea that you'd better keep working, otherwise people will forget." And that was dangerous. This is a tragedy that many high achievers face. We confuse doing with being. Robin conquered the world, but he never conquered his own insecurity. He built a legacy of joy for us, while constructing a prison of expectation for himself. He survived the drugs. He survived the fame, but he couldn't survive the feeling that he had to be on forever. And as the years went by, as his body aged and his mind began to betray him, that pressure would become unbearable. The year is 2013. Robin Williams is working on Night at the Museum 3. To the world, he is still the genius Teddy Roosevelt. But on set, something is terrifyingly wrong. Robin Williams, the man with the fastest computer for a brain in Hollywood history, cannot remember his lines. He is struggling to memorize a single sentence. His left hand has a tremor he can't stop. He is experiencing panic attacks, insomnia, and paranoia. He went to doctors. They told him it was Parkinson's. They gave him medication, but it didn't help. He felt like he was losing his mind, piece by piece. He told his makeup artist, with tears in his eyes, "I don't know who I am anymore." Imagine the horror. A pianist losing his fingers. A painter losing his sight. For Robin, he was losing the very thing that made him Robin, his spark. He wasn't fighting depression. He was fighting a neurological terrorist inside his brain. But he kept working. He kept smiling. Because that's what he did. Before the fog completely took him, we need to remember who this man truly was. While the media focused on his movies, Robin was quietly doing something else. For over a decade, he went to the most dangerous places on earth: Iraq, Afghanistan, Kuwait. He went on 6 USO tours to visit the troops. He didn't do it for press. He didn't bring cameras. Imagine this scene. It is 120 degrees in the desert. Thousands of tired, scared, dusty soldiers are sitting in a makeshift base. They haven't smiled in months. And then, out walks Robin Williams. He stayed for hours. He signed every autograph. He shook every hand. He hugged the wounded. There is a story of a soldier who had lost his legs. He was sitting in a wheelchair, depressed, refusing to speak. Robin walked up to him. He didn't look at the wheelchair. He looked the soldier in the eye and started doing improv. Within 2 minutes, that soldier was laughing so hard, he was crying. For those few minutes, the war stopped. The pain stopped. Robin Williams wasn't just a comedian. He was a medic. His medicine was laughter, and he administered it to those who needed it most. Even when he was running empty himself, he gave away pieces of his soul to heal others, until there was almost nothing left for him. When he left us in August 2014, the world whispered, "Why? Why did he give up?" We thought it was weakness. We thought it was the sadness winning. We were wrong. 3 months after his death, the autopsy results came back. Robin Williams had diffuse Lewy Body Dementia. It is one of the most aggressive, painful, and terrifying brain diseases known to science. His brain was filled with Lewy bodies, clumps of protein that destroy neurons, causing hallucinations, paranoia, and organ failure. Doctors said it was one of the worst cases they had ever seen. He wasn't depressed. He was besieged. The fact that he could walk, talk, and perform for as long as he did was a medical miracle. It wasn't a suicide. It was a final act of mercy. He knew he was losing the war, and he chose to leave the battlefield on his own terms before the enemy took his dignity. He didn't die because he was weak. He died because he had been fighting a war inside his head that no one else could see, and he fought it longer and harder than anyone could have expected. What is the legacy of Robin Williams? It is not the Oscars. It is not the billions at the box office. His legacy is a simple, profound truth about the human condition. Everyone is fighting a battle you know nothing about. He taught us that kindness is not a weakness. It is a necessity. He famously said, "You're only given a little spark of madness. You mustn't lose it." Robin protected that spark with his life. He used it to light up the darkest corners of the human experience. He showed us that it is okay to be different. It is okay to be loud. It is okay to be sensitive. He was the genie who granted us our wish for laughter, but the price was his freedom. Now, finally, the genie is free. He left us with empty bellies from laughing and full hearts from loving. And perhaps the greatest tribute we can pay him is not to mourn his death, but to practice what he preached. Be kind, be silly, and never, ever let the spark go out. So, as we close the book on the life of Robin McLaurin Williams, what do we see? We don't just see a comedian. We see a mirror reflecting our own deepest struggles. We started with the boy in the empty mansion, who built a mask of voices to survive the silence. He taught us that talent is often just a scar that is healed into something beautiful. But he also warned us, the mask protects you, but if you wear it too long, it can suffocate you. We walked with him through the fire of fame, where he battled the Imposter Syndrome. He ran faster than anyone else because he was terrified that if he stopped, he would be unlovable. He taught us the heartbreaking difference between doing and being. You are not what you produce. You are not your applause. You are enough, just as you are. And finally, we stood by him in the fog of war, fighting an invisible enemy. Even when his mind was fading, his heart remained the strongest muscle in his body. He taught us that kindness is the ultimate form of rebellion in a cruel world. He was the sad clown who cried so we could laugh. He was the alien who tried to teach humans how to love. My friends, if there is one thing I want you to take away from Robin's story, it is this: check on your funny friends. The people who shine the brightest often cast the darkest shadows. Just because someone is smiling, just because they are the life of the party, doesn't mean they aren't fighting a war inside. And to you, if you are watching this and you feel like that boy in the attic, if you feel that you have to perform to be loved, if you feel that spark of madness fading away, please listen to me. You don't have to be the genie. You don't have to be the hero. You don't have to save everyone. It is okay to be tired. It is okay to take off the mask. Robin Williams spent 63 years giving everything to us. The best way we can honor him is to give a little bit of that kindness back to ourselves. Don't wait for the applause. You are already a masterpiece. I want to know, what is the Robin Williams movie that changed your life? Was it the poetry of Dead Poets Society? The magic of Aladdin? Or the healing of Good Will Hunting? Share your favorite memory of him in the comments below. Let's turn the comments section into a tribute wall for the man who made the world smile. I read every single story. If this journey touched your heart, please hit that like button and subscribe. It helps us keep telling the stories of these legends who shaped our souls. And if you want to understand another icon who was loved by millions but died with a broken heart, you must watch our deep dive into Marilyn Monroe's sex symbol versus orphan. It is the female parallel to Robin's story, a tragic beauty behind the glamour. Click right here to watch it now. Thank you for spending your time with us. I'm Peter. Seize the day, my friends. Make your lives extraordinary. And nano.